What is one of the dumbest things you've done when your brain was on autopilot?
Was brushing my teeth and went to throw something away but ended up spitting all over the floor instead.
Once put toothpaste on my razor and very nearly put it in my mouth before the gears in my brain screeched to a halt and the warning sirens went off. I now keep my razor in the shower, far away from my toothbrush.
You missed out on a minty fresh shave though.
Personally, I wax my teeth.
Wake up in the middle of the night to take a pee, then just autopiloted into my morning routine. It wasn't until after I drank my coffee that I realized it was only 3 a.m. and that I wasn't going to be able to go back to sleep.
I took a nap after work, woke up at 7 p.m., and the sky was about the same color it is in the morning. I went into immediate autopilot and made coffee, packed my lunch, and realized what I'd done when I was halfway downtown.
Did the same thing as a high school senior during the winter, only noticed it was 2 a.m. and not 7 when I started my car. Best part, it was a Saturday anyways.
I've gotten in my car on the weekends to go somewhere and gone on autopilot and realize it as I'm pulling into my work's parking lot. I'm like, why the f did I drive to work?
I've had similar experiences. I had 3 jobs for a while, and occasionally I'd get dressed for the right job, then drive straight to the wrong one and not realize it until I'm at the door. Or answering the phone at job with Job B's greeting.
Imagine calling a Pizza Hut and getting the suicidal hotline greeting.
I put my dirty plate in the freezer instead of the dishwasher.
Dishes on hard mode.
Got to get those tough stains out somehow.
Went to the gym, walked right past the desk where you check in and get a locker key, walked into the locker room, stood in front of a locker, and was absolutely puzzled about what to do next.
I can hear a buzz sound, like you get in a video game. Then a screen pops up, missing locker key.
In an adventure game it'd be more like, it's locked. What do I do now?
I went inside the gas station, paid, then drove off. Twice. Didn't even fill up, just drove away.
I've done the same thing, going through the drive-thru a time or two. Pay for my food, get up my receipt, drive off, turn around and go back for my food.
I used the key fob from my car to lock my refrigerator. Yeah, I don't know either.
My favorite one yet? Did it work?
Dials 911 on the microwave.
Is that a weed?
No, it's a crayon.
I'm calling the police.
I was a kitchen employee at Arby's when I was 18. We used to have sub rolls that were foot long, but the only subs we sold were 6 inches. So you had to cut each roll in half before you used it. I was just zoned out one day, and I ended up cutting the sub roll in half, putting the knife back in the sub roll bag, and then trying to use the sub roll to cut the next sandwich. My manager saw it and f***ing died.
Imagine being a customer and seeing your employee trying to cut bread with bread.
I used the breads to destroy the breads.
Waited at a stop sign for 5 minutes thinking it was a red light. I was not on my phone. I didn't hold anybody else up, luckily.
Reminds me of the old saying, drunk drivers are more likely to run a stop sign. Stoned drivers are just going to wait for the sign to turn green.
Your drive instructor would be proud.
I was working fast food and taking orders both inside and for the drive-thru. I took someone's order inside at the counter and told them to pull forward to the second window.
While on autopilot, goes outside and stands at the window.
A couple of weeks ago, I was driving home, but instead of going to my current house, I drove to my old house. I haven't lived there in over 5 years. I pulled into the driveway, and luckily I realized what I had done before I actually got out of the car.
I can just imagine you entering the house while some family, going about their day, looks up at you in absolute confusion.
I've done something similar too many times. I work as a truck driver, and with my brain on autopilot I have several times driven to the wrong business. I drive locally, so we are not talking big distances, gotten the pallet of my truck, and then realize I'm in the wrong place. I've then had to put the pallet back on my truck and drive away, usually with people working there witnessing it.
I had a dislocated knee and kicked a soccer ball that was coming towards me.
Did it hurt?
It caused my knee to go back in place and then I threw up.
A girl I knew in high school was playing basketball when she accidentally jumped off of a short ledge between the court and the sidewalk. She ended up dislocating her knee. As she was lying on the ground pale as a ghost, she popped it back into place and promptly passed out. She said she didn't remember anything past tripping on a ledge.
I have really bad knees and the pain and shock on your body when you have to put it back in is amazing. I hope she wasn't too badly impacted by that.
Was holding my phone and ice cream in a cone. Phone rang, answered ice cream. A sticky ear is surprisingly uncomfortable.
Passes ice cream over to person, it's for you.
Early morning, I was about to put mouthwash on my toothbrush, but I caught myself and I was like, nice try, brain, and put them back. Then, I grabbed the toothpaste and squeezed it on my palm.
I can see the nice try brain, and then continuing to F up.
Drove 17 miles past my interstate exit before I snapped back to reality.
I drove about the same distance during which my memory is non-existent. But during that time, I successfully, and correctly, turned off at the correct exit, stopped at a toll booth, and took the toll stub from the machine. It proved to me that driving on autopilot existed well before the technology was even invented.
He turned the key and stopped his ride. He pulled the handbrake up inside, and with a sad, exhausted smile, he stared beyond the screen a while. He thought of all he had in life, his hopes and dreams, his kids and wife, his house, his couch, his car, his job, his mom, his dad, his Uncle Bob. And when the time had come to go, he stepped outside and stopped, and so, he stared and softly said, I see. I am not where I'm meant to be.
Continuously jammed my work key into my house door. My work key is a big silver one, and my house key is one of those picture ones with a bunny on it.
I tried to click my house door open with my car keys on more than one occasion.
Thank God I'm not the only one who does this. And my car has range, so it literally takes my lights flashing a couple times before I look around to make sure my neighbors didn't see.
My brother ordered nachos at a Mexican restaurant, grabbed a chip and proceeded to watch himself dip it into his tea. After about 2 dips, he came back into reality, shook his head and went, "What?" My mother is an EMT. After a 24-hour shift, she came home and tried to unlock the front door with her car keys button and did that for about 5 minutes. I once drove to work when I was supposed to drop my younger brother off at school. Neither of us seemed to notice until we got to my workplace and I had turned around. He was late.
Little bro noticed for sure. He just wanted to skip class.
As someone with no natural sense of direction, it is entirely possible he doesn't keep track if he isn't driving.
Flipped my Kindle over to read the other side of a document.
The reverse millennial.
I slathered my face with hair gel this morning.
My condolences.
Tore open a sugar packet, poured it directly into the trash, tossed the empty paper packet into my coffee.
I've done this too many times to count. Making coffee before you had your coffee is a sport.
I was folding my freshly laundered bed linens while simultaneously putzing around the house. I don't know what to tell you, but somehow, I was folding a pillowcase, then the next moment, I couldn't find it anywhere. And I looked everywhere my very tiny home. It wasn't in the folded pile, it wasn't in the closet, it wasn't in the bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen where I puttered around while folding said laundry. It still haunts me and I'm going to find that effing pillowcase even if it kills me.
Did you check the trash? If it ended up in the trash, you'll never find it.
This is one of my biggest rules. If you can't find it, check the garbage can before it's too late.
Threw my wallet in my dumpster a few weeks ago emptying my car. Ordered new cards, new ID, new wallet. Hated myself. Got all my shit in the mail, only to find my wallet staring at me the next time I took the trash out. Smelled like I hate myself.
Swiped up on a paper magazine like it was a screen.
This is what boomers imagine children do with books these days.
What's a computer?
Overshot an exit that I've used hundreds of times. Didn't notice and ended up driving another 50 miles before realizing that I was way out of the city's boundaries. Still don't remember any of the in-between. Just starting to drive and then realize I had no idea where I was.
Dang, we love mindless driving, laugh out loud.
Thank God driving skills are part of the autopilot experience.
Both my grandmas live like 3 hours away, but one is north of where I live, the other west. I once made it halfway towards Grandma North till I realized I actually was to drive to Grandma West that weekend.
Put a dog biscuit into the washing machine instead of a detergent pod. I realized before turning it on, so I was able to recover it.
And fed the Tide Pod to your dog.
Don't be silly. Dogs aren't dumb enough to eat Tide Pods. People, on the other hand,